All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Monday, August 18th, right here on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson. And this is All In Horns, presented to you by Rogue Sports Network. With it being August 18th, there is literally nothing of importance happening today. Not one single thing. Should anybody know that this date is significant to anybody on this podcast specifically?
No, I can't think of anything personally that's going on
There would
today.
be no reason why we would celebrate anybody's milestone for making it around the sun another time on this podcast. None whatsoever.
No, I think once you're past 21, there's no reason to celebrate. You're just getting old.
I think then there's 50. There's 21
Yeah.
and then 50, and it's like, dang, now I'm really old.
Yeah,
And then I think the next one's like 100.
Yeah, for reference, turning 31 today. 30 was the first birthday where I was like, oh shit, that's a big number. I'm not in my 20s anymore.
Yeah.
And so now it's just all downhill from here.
It is. But happy birthday, Jake. Happy birthday. Do you have your shirt nearby? The gift that I gave you?
I wore it yesterday, so it's in the hamper.
That's fine.
For any Pardon My Take listeners, it is the football guy, intercourse guy with the football guy box checked and the intercourse guy box unchecked.
Yeah.
And it is great. I told my wife I was going to wear it around her family. She said, please do not. We'll see if I can get away with it at some point.
I think her father would respect it.
That's what I think too. I think it's respectful.
I think if anything, her parents would be like, Jake, that is the most respectful shirt you've ever worn around us.
Yeah. Yeah. I've worn my barbecue shirt that I've worn on here before that says I like my pork pulled and my butt rubbed. And like,
Jake, at this point,
what's the difference?
At this point, Jake, if her parents can't accept you for who you are at this point, then I don't think they ever will. So
I don't think it's the parents. It might be the grandparents and some of the older side that might get a little upset at it.
Yeah,
but
I don't even know if old people can read at this. Can they? Are they able to? Are they like?
They can read Facebook with really big text on their phone.
The shirt has big text. It's all caps.
It is very big text and in all caps.
Yeah. So I guess you're out on that one. But anyway, well, happy birthday, Jake. We've got some big reports to discuss from the Texas Longhorn scrimmage over the weekend. Some good news, some interesting news, and then some also we'll see how it plays out news. I wouldn't even put it in the bad category because we really don't know how significant it is, but just injury updates. And that was the one thing Jake and I going into this offseason said, the number one thing we don't want to hear is an injury report. We have a little bit of injury news to discuss from the scrimmage. I think, Jake, if there was any significant injuries in terms of significant time missed from any of the starters, it would have been made a bigger deal of. It would have been circulating pretty heavy. Yeah,
I mean, the fact that, on all the insider websites and everything, you haven't seen anything that's saying, hey, this might be bad. It seems like all the insiders and people who are in the know seem to agree with Sarkisian that there's nothing to really worry about when it comes to the injuries. That's probably good news. But anytime you see the names, Trevor Gooseby, Murad Watson, headlining some injuries, Jelani McDonald as well. And obviously the Gooseby one, I mean, that we've talked about it. The tackle position is just not in a great spot to lose guys. There is some good news there. I guess I'll just jump into kind of the other first note to me that's
well, real quick. So Jelani McDonald's foot was the issue. Trevor Gooseby's hand was the issue. That was great timing. You trying to refocus your camera with his hand. Murad Watson also got a little bit banged up. They didn't really even have a specific injury of him. It was just he was banged up. So I think they kept him out a little bit. Emmett Mosley also held out of the scrimmage, this transfer from Stanford. He's dealing with a little bit of a hampering of something. And then also freshman safety Jonah Williams with a hamstring. Didn't suffer it in the practice, but he was also held out of camp of the scrimmage because of the hamstring. So I think those are probably the biggest names and the majority of the injury report. But yeah, again, Williams, Mosley, McDonald suffered a foot injury, Trevor Gooseby with a minor hand injury, and then Murad Watson getting a little bit banged up. In these scrimmages, Jake, people need to understand that they're about as important as a preseason game in the NFL. And if you get anybody that comes up hobbly, holding on to something, doesn't feel right, they get the trainers to look at them and they hold them out for the rest of the game.
Yeah. I mean, especially Gooseby, if he's like, my big toe hurts.
Yeah.
Well, you're done for the day.
You sure are.
Because you can't risk it. And I mean, really with anyone, even backups, you're not going to risk it. It's not worth the health of a player. I think Jonah Williams and Emmett Mosley are the ones to me that kind of stick out at this point. Jonah Williams, this is going back to baseball season, this hamstring issue.
Yep.
And at some point you feel like, is he going to have to make a decision of one or the other? I know it's very early on, he's just started his Texas career, but at the same time, this is, if this injury issue lingers for a while, are you going to have to make a decision? And then when it comes to Emmett Mosley, he missed the first scrimmage. He's missed a lot of practice time. Feels like Parker Livingstone is probably cleared him, even if he was practicing at this point. Yeah. And so what is Emmett Mosley's role in this football team going to look like? Because he is missing some of the most important time as a transfer right now. And so if he can't get healthy soon, you have to imagine it could be until the middle of the season where we really see him develop any type of role on the team.
Especially if he's dealing with injuries when it comes to post Ohio State game, where you have that stretch of San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston State. If he's not playing in those games because he's dealing with whatever injury he's dealing with, then you're right. It might take a little bit of time for him to, for us to even see him on the field at all. And just for him to get caught up and in game shape and learn the playbook, learn the scheme, and then just be playing well enough to be on the field and taking reps away from a guy like Parker Livingstone or Kalik Lockett, who has also been kind of rising up the depth chart a little bit, 5-star freshman that's coming in this season. So some good news there. But Jake, let's not bury the lead too much. Obviously, the injury news needed to be talked about. I think the most interesting news, the headline that jumped out to me more than anything, Matthew Caldwell, second string, and it's looking like he is playing better than any of the other backups as well and might solidify and win that QB2 spot.
Yeah, I think it's experience. And, from everything you read, it's just kind of the being all right with taking, you feel like Trey Owens with his big arm. If he has an issue, it may be kind of what Arch's issue was last year, which was trying to go for the deep ball, trying to go for home runs, trying to hit windows that aren't really there, but you just go for it. And so with that, I could see some more just consistent getting first downs, getting down the field, taking time off and getting points with Matthew Caldwell out there. And if that's the case, you don't need someone to go out there and be a superstar when your backup quarterback comes in. You need someone to go out there and drive the bus. Yeah. And Caldwell might be a little better at that with his experience. And so I wouldn't be surprised. I will say this. I think he could win it early in the season. And then I think the backup rule could end up changing middle of the season as a Trey Owens or a KJ Lacey continue to develop.
I would think that my only caveat to that would be you get so much fewer reps during the actual season because a lot of those reps are going to the starters in terms of game prep and whatnot throughout the season, that Trey Owens, KJ Lacey, guys like that may not even get an opportunity, especially if they're lower on the depth chart. They might get 1 or 2 reps in practice to even prove that they can jump a guy like Matthew Caldwell if he wins that spot going into the regular season.
No, and that's a good point. And so, yeah, that is big news, though. There was some conflicting news on that By the way, I did see some sites saying Trey Owens was still taking the second team reps, but it does seem like a consensus that Matthew Caldwell just seems like a little bit more consistent. But another piece of news that I think is kind of headliner news is Jaden Chapman was the first offensive tackle to come into the lineup when Gooseby went out. Nick Brooks was not. And the great thing about that is I think Nick Brooks, for a true freshman, is in a really good spot. But if you have someone else that's starting to step up and looking like he can play for you on a Saturday, that means that could really help kind of alleviate this tackle conundrum that they're in with the depth-wise, because all of a sudden you could have two tackles that are backups that you trust to go out there and play competent football. That said, Trevor Gooseby might be, outside of Arch Manning, maybe a Colin, but you're so loaded at edge that, losing Colin Simmons, you just lose that superstar that, just can make plays that others can't. But I feel like Gooseby might be the second most important guy that you just cannot lose from a depth perspective.
Yeah.
And, the left tackle position being, one of the most important positions in football. But there is some good news if Jaden Chatham's looking like a guy that can get out there and play well. Between him and Nick Brooks, you might have a couple tackles at depth. And so maybe the depth won't end up being as bad as some people have kind of worried about, including myself.
And Nick Brooks might feel more comfortable at right tackle, backing up Baker, and so it might be one of those things that, he's kind of starting to get a feel for right tackle, and they don't want to switch him so much back and forth between being the backup left tackle, backup right tackle, that he loses any type of development moving forward at the right tackle position. And they might want him just to get really good at right tackle. Do your thing, learn the responsibilities of right tackle. And if and when we ever need you to move to the left side, you at least know, it's going to take a little bit of adjusting to switch your stance, but at least you'll have a better understanding, and your skill set, your talent will be a little bit more developed at that time. I'm not mad about that at all. Jake, some more offensive news, and then we'll kind of get into some defense, but a lot of the notes came from the offense, and it was just because there was a much better improvement from the offensive side of the ball in general. Ryan Wingo looks like an absolute stud. Really excited about the reports that we're hearing from Ryan Wingo. And then 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets with Jack Injuries and Shannon Spencer being the 1 and 2 tied in there in those 12 personnels. And Shannon probably won't be getting a ton of receptions, and I'm forgetting the name last year, but it's going to be a very similar role to the backup tight end last year. That was
Juan Davis.
Yeah, Juan Davis. That was more of a blocker, and that'll probably be his role in terms of the 12 personnel, and then Injuries being the reception guy. Speaking of Texas tight ends, Gunnar Helm, did you see that touchdown? That was sweet in preseason.
Yeah, good day. Quinn Ewers had a really good second game. He played a lot better, had a couple touchdowns, was much more efficient. So some good days from some Texas Longhorns in preseason. But
Andrew Makuba.
Andrew Makuba, pick 6, really good day from Texas guys. Their rookie action and preseason play. But on that tight end 2 position, I do think that's still a competition between him and Jordan Washington. Jordan Washington will see the field this year. I think without a doubt. But
I think there will be packages for him to supplement in for Shannon, because
Shannon's a little bit more the deep threat, whereas Washington is a little bit bigger.
Yeah. And Washington can kind of, solidify. I think Washington's a great red zone option.
Yeah. I think, Andres is a great red zone. The red zone options this year are just going to be, I'd be very surprised if the red zone offense is not much better this year than it's been really under most of Sarkisian's tenure. Though don't forget, it was pretty good when they had Bijan, when ironically they weren't as good of a team. But if they are not as good, if they don't improve a bunch this year in the red zone, it's because of the offensive line, because they have running backs to do it. They have, the skill position players. Wingo's an effective red zone threat. I think DeAndre Moore, you can move him around. And then you have, I think you have really good options at tight end. So I really expect the red zone offense to improve a lot this year, especially when you add in Arch Manning's legs as well.
Yeah. And a reminder to everybody out there, if you made it this far in the video, this is actually going to be our last week going Monday through Friday. Starting next week, we're going to go Tuesday through Saturday because obviously Texas will play Saturday next week. But going into week 0 this week, Jake, we are less than 7 days away from actual college football action. K-State, Arizona State's going to be a good one to kick things off as well in Dublin, Ireland. But we'll give on Friday, we'll kind of do a week 0, if there's any lines that we like, if you're a sports degenerate like myself and like Jake, and then if there's a week 0, game of the week, obviously K-State, Arizona State, we'll kind of give some game picks of who we like on that Friday episode. But that will be the last Monday through Friday episode. We're going to go and switch Tuesday through Saturday, obviously giving immediate reactions on the Saturday episodes for the Longhorn games. And so just quick reminder there. Also, like, share, and subscribe to the channel while we're discussing it. Feel free to spread the word. We're trying to get to 800. I don't think we're quite there yet. 800 before that week 1 game. And if we can do that, that'll be a big win for us. And so spread the word, help us share content, and we'll continue to grow and give you great content throughout the week. So, all right. With that being said, Steve Sarkisian, Jake, mentioned that he probably has about 15 to 16 starters on his defense. Well, only 11 can start. So the fact that you've got 4 to 5 more additional players that you could plug in at the starting role is really exciting. And we might see different starting lineups throughout the entire season from this Texas defense. I think that allows you to really allows you to be flexible in terms of matchups. If you're going against a pass-heavy team, against a run-heavy team, an option team, a scrambling quarterback versus a guy who likes to stay in the pocket, whatever that looks like, you can probably figure out a personnel package for your starters that one week you're going to get Grayson Littleton playing and playing starter role and getting way more playing time than somebody else. And then the next week you might not see Grayson Littleton very much at all. It's just going to be whatever the matchup is going into that week.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that number he gave might be a little conservative, just when you consider the amount of depth at the D line and the edge positions and the linebacker positions and the secondary. Like they really have depth kind of everywhere on the defense. I don't think there's a depth issue at any position on the defense, but I think we'll see a lot of different starting lineups to start the year too. Especially when you get out of Ohio State, you get to kind of that easy stretch, what should be an easy stretch of games. I think you'll see a lot of switching at the star position. I think the secondary will switch around a lot. I think the D tackles who starts the game, that'll change a lot because it'll be package specific. It'll be matchup specific, but I don't think it matters who starts at defensive tackle because you're going to rotate them like hockey shifts. But I do think we'll see a lot of shuffling in the secondary and kind of figuring out, is Michael Taft going to play the star position? Is Jelani McDonald just going to be the stay home there? Does Littleton end up just being so good you can't not start him? Where does that kind of end up? And then I think you'll kind of build from there. But you'll also be rotating in the secondary. So outside of Anthony Hill, and Anthony Hill will rotate out plenty, which, by the way, a thing we haven't talked about in this podcast. And I don't think there's a ton to talk about until we hear more, but Anthony Smith is looking so good that he's pushing for Leona Lafau's spot or snaps, which is crazy because Leona Lafau is an awesome player for Texas. And it's such a stable player as well. And he's going to play no matter what. It's not to say if he's benched, he's never going to touch the field. It's just Anthony Smith is going to get a lot of playing time this year. Anthony Smith is a big reason. You have Barnes.
You have too many players and not enough positions on
There's
defense.
A reason Brad Smith or Spence moved from a loaded linebacker room to a loaded edge room.
Yeah.
There's a reason he made that full-time switch because he wasn't going to get much playing time at linebacker, despite the fact that the edge room is just as loaded. I mean, it's going to be fun to see how PK kind of starts to roll out different packages for different situations. They have so much flexibility, and I think it's going to be a really fun defense to watch. I mean, does that mean they're going to be perfect week one and not maybe have a bust or something along those lines? No, but I think this defense is going to start the year great. I think they're only going to get better. I think they're going to be just as good as last year. I've really come around on believing in this defense.
They could be better than last year's defense, and I know nobody really wants to say
the
that.
stats might not be better,
But
even
they
if
might-
they are better.
but they
I
might-
just want to clarify that.
I think the field position is going to allow them to be better. Just with special teams and punting and being in better field position on the offense. And even if you're not, surely Boomeister can get you down the field. A few more notes, Jake, and you take this wherever you want, but I'm just going to rattle off some notes and then you pick up wherever you want to. At the wide receiver position, the top 3 wide receivers in the ones in terms of the rotation was Ryan Wingo, DeAndre Moore, Parker Livingstone was the number 3 guy. I don't think that's a huge surprise due to Emmett Mosley's injury, but I don't think it's a big surprise just because of how good Parker Livingstone has been. Khalil Lockett, Dylan McCutcheon were kind of the next 2 guys up. And Dylan McCutcheon, that's a name that we probably should discuss a little bit more, you and I. Then we've got James Simon was called out for his big plays that he made. It may not have been as consistent, but he made some really big, exciting, explosive plays. And that's the freshman running back, probably sitting behind Jarrett Gibson, Christian Clark, probably that number 5 option at running back. And then lastly, Grayson Littleton, Hero Canoe, Cole Brevard, which Cole Brevard, good to hear that he's in the rotation of the ones because he had a little bit of an injury hiccup last week. Seems like he's gotten over that hurdle. And he was playing within the rotation of the ones on the defensive side of the ball. So Hero Canoe, another name that has kind of been inserted into this starting lineup, if you will.
Yeah. First off, on a side note, because it's on my other monitor, Joe Milton's terrible at football. Just wanted to say that out loud. Sorry, I had to say it.
Yeah, we're recording this episode the second half of the Cowboy preseason game.
Yeah, he's bad. He's just bad at football.
We have a Dallas Cowboy podcast, All In Cowboys. Subscribe to it. It's in the description below. Give the link a click and watch our immediate reaction. It'll be out the same time as this episode.
First thing I will say on that episode, and we haven't recorded it yet, but I can just tell you now, Joe Milton's bad at football.
He's not good. I don't want him to ever play.
I don't want to have to watch him play football.
A regular season snap, I don't want him to play for the Dallas Cowboys.
So back to Longhorns. Yeah. Parker Livingston, I think there's just not much to comment at this time. He is wide receiver 3. I don't even think it matters if Emmett Mosley's healthy right now. I mean, that could change during the regular season based off actual performance, but it seems like Livingston and Arch have had a connection going back to last year. And I think he's going to have a huge year, quite honestly. And then I do think it's interesting, Khalil Lockett, McCutcheon has been talked about since the spring as maybe being ahead of all the freshmen. To me, the fact that Khalil Lockett is starting to almost be ahead of him in some cases shows how quickly he has progressed.
Yeah.
And I think the competition at wide receiver, when you get past those top 3, is going to be a lot of fun to watch throughout the season.
And that will rotate, I believe. That could just be whoever the hot hand is in practice.
And Jamie French is still back there. He's still been developing and getting better. Michael Terry has come further than they expected him to already. And so I think we'll get to see a lot of them, when we get past this Ohio State game and you go through that stretch of games. And then, elsewhere, I think the Hero Canoe is fun to hear that his name has been consistently mentioned. I originally thought he would be a very low snap guy this year for Texas. Yeah. I'm starting to think he's going to be an equal snap to just this kind of rotation. He's going to be out there. It sounds like he maybe isn't as talented as some of the other guys, but his motor. And he's still very talented. He was recruited by Ohio State, but just when you talk about that top end, he's not Justice Terry level talent, but his motor and his ability is going to keep him on the field. And so I'm very excited to just watch the defensive tackle play. I'm excited to watch this wide receiver room rotate in and out. And I'm more excited than I thought I'd be to see how the depth kind of plays out at all these positions other than offensive line throughout the start of the season. The offensive line, hopefully you're not having to see the depth tested because they typically don't rotate in and out.
All right, Jake. Last thing before we log off, whose toesies am I seeing in the background there?
That's my one of my buddies, Aaron, is in the. He's
all
sitting
right.
down here while
That's
we're
Aaron.
recording.
I love Aaron. So tell him what's up. So, but yeah, I see his little piggies are back there, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
I think he's playing Clash Royale on his phone. I was like,
okay.
I can't have the game on the big screen, and we don't want to get copyrighted. So
Yeah, no. So, no, I was like, I guarantee you, there's gonna be somebody in the comments or watching this that are like, there's some movement back there. I don't know what it is, but yeah, there's
yeah,
just,
my name is just blocking it out
yeah.
kind of perfectly.
All right, man. Well, that's gonna do it for today's episode. We are getting so close to the regular season. I can almost taste it. But we are less than a week away from actual college football being played on a Saturday with College Game Day and the whole thing going on week 0. We count week 0 here as real football, but the big shebang, obviously, in about a week and a half, Texas, Ohio State. And again, we'll move this schedule Tuesday through Saturday and give you an immediate reaction to that game. But we still have all the predictions. We have our full season prediction. Jake and I are going to go through every conference and give maybe not records of every team, but just teams that we like. And then a conference championship game with a conference champion. We'll give you our playoff, our 12-team playoff, and then who is going to win the national championship. That'll all be before week 1. And we'll also give you, the full Texas season prediction, game-by-game predictions before the season gets going. Hold us to that. We're going to actually keep that schedule, those predictions, in our documents. And so at the end of the year, we can go back and refresh it. We won't delete it this time. We accidentally deleted it through the season last year. And we're like, wait, what was our – I know – Jake had Oregon going through. I had Ohio State winning the national championship. I knew that much. I didn't know who I think it was against Georgia. And it was this whole thing that we were kind of sort of right and kind of sort of didn't have proof of it. But anyway, we'll hold on to it this year and we'll give all those predictions within the next week and a half before kickoff on week 1 Saturday. We'll give all of those predictions for the people.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I got like 2 of the Power 4 conferences done.
Okay. Hey, that's better than me. I got 1 of the Power conferences.
I haven't put them on the doc yet. What I did was I printed the schedule on every conference website and find like a PDF of every team's schedule.
The pre work done before the work.
Yeah. So I've just by pen and paper, kind of like a March Madness bracket, just gone through. And then that way it's easy to kind of cross-reference. So you don't pick, Louisville to beat Virginia Tech, but then on Virginia Tech, you pick them to beat Louisville.
Yeah.
that type of deal.
No, yeah, I get that for sure. All right, Jake. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. That's Jake Jimerson. I'm Tanner Carlson. As always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.